All right, guys. Right after I just uploaded my last game here talking about unsubstantiate, I played a game later tonight with Jeleva one more time before bed, and it ends up being an excellent game. I've got my boy, the Luck Charm, SSDYU, in the house. Um, and I'm playing my Jeleva deck, so that makes me very happy. Uh, he's playing his Prime Speaker Zagana deck. We've got Sig River Cutthroat, so blue black and blue green, and then mono black over here. Immediately, as soon as this game starts, this hand is obviously a keep. We've got a fast mana card, Time Twister, and we can easily Time Twister turn 2, but this ends up getting even better. I'm thinking right now I probably want to put the duress underneath because I'll have blue, red, and blue, which would leave the Swan Song open. But then on the other hand, using the duress is probably better since I'm playing second. So I'm kind of not playing second, playing third, playing before SSDYU. So I'm considering my options here. My opponents do nothing on turn one, which is very gracious of them. And I top deck Mox Diamond, which changes the plan. It's obviously going to be the duress underneath because I want the black mana. Um, I could have wanted the blue mana. Since I have the Mox Diamond now, I have a second black, but having double black is really good, and I will have triple blue anyway. So, we're going to put well, not necessarily have triple blue if I don't hit land, but almost any land I hit will give me blue for my next turn. So, immediately going to Time Twister. Start at 3 mana, new hand, exactly where we want to be. We hit a Yawgmoth's Will, a Wheel of Fortune, a Dimir Signet, and a Thoughtseize. Excellent. Our opponent plays Vivid Creek, and immediately, is this your Jeleva Storm deck? So I know this guy is gunning for me. We know SSDYU is gunning for me, and we got this other guy here. So this is could easily be a 3 versus 1 game, but I got the kind of start that I can possibly pull it off. So he goes and plays a Bloodseeker, which can get nasty, but at least he's not playing control. When I top deck the Mana Drain, I decide I don't want to wheel right back out again. Obviously, don't want to use Yawgmoth's Will from this position and burn it this early in my line. But in the same vein, we've got Time Twister. Time Spiral rather, still in the deck to shuffle it back in, even though Twister's already bend. Most likely just going to use this wheel, but with the Signet and Mana Drain, I can afford to develop my mana for a turn and then try to drain something. He plays a Mana Rock. I consider draining it, but decide not to. See if my opponents have something else better to play. I'm hoping they continue to develop. He plays a Scryland, so no 3 drop out of him. He plays Sig River Cutthroat. I decide I'm going to Mana Drain that, just because I don't know if the black player has a play at all, and I don't want to risk not having my Mana Drain, because I want to play fast when I know I'm getting teamed like this, especially when I have this kind of a start. I want to take the tempo I already have and press it. So, we get a gamble. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I get Notion Thief with this gamble and don't lose Wheel of Fortune playing the Badlands, I have a 60% chance that unless this guy has a 1 mana counterspell or he's one of these guys is rocking Force of Will to end the game. And no matter what I discard, I'm not in a horrible position because I can still Yawgmoth's Will to get the draw 7 effect, so I'm not in a horrible position. So I'm going to go ahead and gamble for the win. I get a red Entomb and I whiff on the 40% there, discarding the Notion Thief, which is unfortunate. I decide, since SSDYU I know plays Force of Will and free counter spells, I'm going to play it safe here and aim the Thoughtseize at him. He in fact has a Commandeer, which he actually should have used on me, bending his Copy Enchantment and his Reigns of Power, and sent that right back at me, but he decides not to. So I'm totally okay with that. We'll go ahead and get rid of it, and we'll wheel out. Get a Mox Opal. Metalcraft is already online. We can immediately use our Copy Artifact. Bam. Get another Mox Diamond, and now our mana is really developed. We get a pass on this Remand, though we don't really intend on using it because we're going to need it to defend our line against 2 blue players for sure. Sure enough, he plays this Grafted War Gear, turns Mox Opal online. He's got double blue open. He is representing double blue, and I have a feeling that they're playing control. This guy pinging me with his random life ping tribal deck develops with a Everflowing Chalice into nothing, and he is swinging the pain at me. So I'm getting attacked from all angles, but that guy's not really doing a whole hell of a lot. I top deck Factor Fiction here. The obvious line here is to go for Time Spiral, but I've got 2 mages with blue mana open. One has 7 cards, one has 5. They both just got new hands. Going for the Time Spiral here is very, very risky. So I'm going to do something that... this is part of the thing that people say, I don't see you cast Jeleva very often. I actually got this comment, it was one of the last comments on my thread. When I'm winning, there's no need to cast Jeleva. It's in the difficult games where you need to cast the Jeleva. And while she has a slight chance of whiffing, because she immediately presents a threat on the subsequent turn, she's incredibly powerful, and putting her out will force my opponents to then use their mana, especially when you're ahead like this, to deal with the Jeleva or get completely boned by her. So it kind of gives me a shield against the counter spells just by giving me that degenerate effect. So she hits an ad nauseum, which means if she swings, I'm going to win. That's a free ad nauseum, and look how much mana I have. So now Jeleva must be dealt with, period. He plays a Greater Good. I'm absolutely happy to see Greater Good. It does nothing with his board state, gives him no extra cards, and I don't have to do anything about it. I'm holding the Remand to protect Jeleva. This guy stupidly targets his own island, and this ends up being really, really good for me, because that's one less player hating on me this game. That was just a misclick by him. Had he targeted the Jeleva, I obviously would have cast the Remand on that spell. Which would have been unfortunate, as you'll see, because he does not just have Clutch of the Undercity. So, guy plays a Cryptcast, can't afford to remand it. Doesn't affect my winning line. Guy plays Edric's Master Breeder. Yet again, the aggro is coming, and I'm losing my window. I know I have to win fast, but yet again, nothing I can afford to counterspell when I'm playing the actual counterspell game with these two guys over here, and I have to push through my win. I'm going to go ahead and get my tapped land here. Now this is risky because there's a very good chance this guy has spot removal for Jeleva in the form of a bounce spell. However, because of the way he's been playing, I have a feeling that he just won't cast it until it's my turn. I feel like he kind of hit F6 on my fetch, though Factor Fiction takes so long he can easily turn off auto yields. I target the player who isn't playing the best spells, is not familiar with my deck, and I feel will give me the best split. And he thinks about going Grim Tutor 4, and then decides Grape Shot, and then everything. So, well, that was incredibly stupid. So I probably would have just taken the Grim Tutor regardless. I don't even think the other cards are going to be relevant with the line of play I want to take here. I top deck Taxon Probe. Now, with an Ad Nauseam, you would think you don't want to lose a life. However, in this position, I want to know exactly what it is that Kazaraman has. So I'm going to go ahead and probe him out right now, because he's got the most open mana, and he's blue. He has a Reality Shift, and he has a Cyclonic Rift. So remanding him is not going to do me any good, obviously, even if he just had one of these two spells. So my remand is fairly dead as far as protecting against him. However, I get the information that he is not holding a counter spell, and SSDYU only has 4 cards. So the line is pretty simple here. Swing with Ad Nauseam, attempt to win, force him to use a bounce spell. So he goes for Reality Shift. Okay, not going to remand it. Absolutely not, because we need to save the remand for our next line, which is Time Spiral. So my best odds of winning here are just going to be go get High Tide and then try to win off the Spiral Tide. So go for High Tide, Spiral Tide. SSDYU goes for Arcane Denial, obviously going to remand that back to his hand. Okay, so we don't get a hit card. We get Yawgmoth's Wail plus Pass and Flames, which does us no good after we've just grave-hated our own graveyard. We have this Notion Thief, and we have a Force of Will. Without a secondary pitch card to go with this Notion Thief. So the plan here is simple. Reslam Jeleva because we've whiffed. And you're going to get to see the power of Jeleva right here multiple times in this game. Jeleva hits a Time Twister, which is the best card she hits, especially with this Notion Thief in my hand. I also hit Explosive Vegetation, Stolen Identity, Evacuation, all sorts of crap. But the bottom line is I don't have very much time. And from my position, the Time Twister is more important than the Notion Thief because I could win with just a Time Twister. But pretty much my winning line now is Notion Thief plus Time Twister. And the clock is running out. So I'm going to go ahead and pass. I'm not going to throw the Notion Thief down because they have plenty of removal, and I don't want to let them know the Notion Thief's there when they take their lines of play. Not one bit. It was kind of sad that I didn't hit a card draw and I couldn't chain into Mind's Desire and just kill him right there. However, we're not giving up. He plays a Biden of Thassa, which makes me think he does not have much control in his hand. He goes ahead and swings at SSDYU. He really should have swung at me for the 1 damage. Jeleva is obviously not blocking here, and that thing flies. So not quite sure why he did that. But the difference is 1 damage, which just ended up not being relevant. He casts Ambition Cost. I can't force that. It's not worth it. Doesn't kill me. He plays this card. Not worth it. Doesn't kill me. He plays this card. Not worth it. Doesn't kill me. And I'm actually kind of happy because I don't see enough mana for Ashnod's Altar, so I'm not going to have to blow my force if SSDYU saved yet again another counterspell for me. And what I'm hoping for is I top deck a blue spell. Because if I top deck a blue spell, I can protect the Notion Wheel for free, which is going to give me much better odds of winning. I've already played a lot of my free mana in this deck, and I could easily not win depending on the cards I hit. Even if I get the Notion Wheel off, and I will be dead if I have to pass. So top deck attacks and probe. Thank God. Now we have a blue pitch card. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Notion Thief. Normally I'd probably want to flash it in with the Time Twister on the stack, or something like that. I don't think it would actually matter. I mainly don't want MTGO to screw me, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it out right now. That's actually a Soul Ring underneath as well. So I have a lot of not free mana hits. So move to swing phase. No one has a kill spell. Put Time Twister on the stack. He does not have a counter spell, or he might, but he goes for Beast Within. We're going to go ahead and pitch the probe and force that. And we hit a disgusting stack of a zillion D, billion D cards here that includes Mind's Desire, but not a lot of free mana in this hand. And not a whole lot of tutor effects. So I have a couple options. Let's see what's exiled here. I've got a decent amount of cards exiled. I could go straight into High Tide, but the problem is, right, if I could go for High Tide and flop top and go for Mind's Desire and do stuff like that. I do have the Frantic Search plus High Tide, so that's not a bad idea. I decided to go play Helm of Awakening, though, because I wasn't thinking, and I was like, oh, I'll just go for Future Sight. And then I thought about it, and if I went for Future Top from this position, I wasn't sure that I would actually get back up to enough mana to win. So I've wasted a bunch of mana, and I decide that that's really bad. I'm going to have to Mind's Desire to make up for my misplay there. I should have just went straight for the High Tide line. I wasn't actually really looking. I just saw the Future Sight, and I just kind of zoned in on it, and then I kind of remembered my messed up mana. So we made a little mistake there. However, we're going to be able to recover from it. It's not that huge of a deal. We still have Doomsday open as a line. We could easily just go into Doomsday right here, and then use cantrips. But I decide, like Dark Ritual here into Doomsday. Even though we're under the effects of Yawgmoth's Will, we could easily cast Doomsday and then win from this position. However, we're going to go for the Storm Kill, because why not? So we're going to go ahead and cast Mind's Desire, because that's more fun, and we'll see what we hit. And we hit tutors, plenty of tutors, plenty of mana, and now it's just a exercise of killing them. I go ahead and get Hurkyl's Recall off the Merchant Scroll to bounce all my artifacts, cast Yawgmoth's Will to get all my stuff back. I still have a tutor bend. Didn't even have to go get LED. I think I put Mind Over Matter on top of my deck just to get infinite mana. Pretty much, I saw that Mind's Desire flip, and it was like, yeah, this game is over. I can pretty much decide to win any way I want. I can use Future Sight plus Doomsday. I can use Tendrils, etc. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to use this Unsubstantiate. So I used the Unsubstantiate to bounce the Tendrils back in my hand, just to show that it is a very good card in the late game. I obviously had many, many different lines of play to win this game. I really enjoyed it because it was a game where they were all against me. I had my good hand. I was able to use my counter spells, get the exact proportions I need to fight through my enemy's hate, and ended up winning the game with everyone trying to gun me down because I had a overwhelming advantage at the start. So, there's another game with Grixis Storm. I hope you guys enjoyed, and one of my opponents did. So, that's Moxnick signing out.